Well, good afternoon and welcome to My Wyoming Garden. Today, I'm actually not in the garden because it rained a half an inch last night and everything is wet. So I decided to do this little side deck. I pulled up all the plants. I'm going to show you what I did, what I added to make it a fun little space for us this summer. Now, I have to tell you that Joe's in the front yard and the soil has come over the sidewalk, so he's pulling that out because if there's no plants, of course, weeds are going to grow. And so he's pulling all those out, and he's going to pull some grass and some thistles that are in this big flower bed. But I am inside the kitchen, and I have 2 round succulent containers that I actually brought back from Arizona, and they are totally root bound. So I'm actually going to divide these up and put them in all these different terracotta pots. And if you send a knife around those edges, it makes it really easy to get them out. And so I have a couple very small terracottas that I'm going to put a few little plants in, and then some of them are bigger. Now, would I need to have those bigger ones quite that big? Probably not, but they were there and I'm going to use them. So I have a mixture of potting soil, vermiculite, perlite, and grit for them, so it's real free draining, and it will just make it perfect. So I'm just going to keep breaking those parts of those plants away from each other, and then I'm just going to pot them in. Because the soil is so free draining, it's really easy just to make a hole, put it in, and then firm the soil around it. And out of those 2, I'll end up with about 16 pots of succulents that will grow all summer long. Now I'm going to get some water, and I just really want to give them a good soak so that the soil just firms in around those roots, and then I can take them outside. And it doesn't have to be a lot of water, but just enough to settle them in. And so a nice splash will make them happy. So here they all are out on a couple little stands on my side deck, in which we are going to plant everything up today in this deck. We're going to pull everything out of the old pots, renew the soil, and just get it all ready. Now, I brought all my pumpkins and squashes and my loofahs out so that they can get some real nice sunshine. And it's going to actually be partly cloudy today, and we're expecting a little bit of rain, so I didn't water them this morning. Now here's a couple pots, and I'm renewing them, and the way that I do that, I use an all-natural fertilizer, and I'm going to add some blood meal in there too. And so you can use different fertilizers. Those are up to you. Use blood meal if you want to. I just happen to like it in the pots. I think it helps with the strength of the plant, and so I'm just working those in. Now this one that's got a tomato cage, I'm not going to grow a tomato in there. I'm actually going to grow some cucumbers in there so that they can just climb it. And these cucumbers I didn't grow myself. I just bought them at the nursery. And so I'm going to put a couple of them, and I'm going to put them in the inside of the tomato cage, not on the outside. They're not root bound at all. And so I can just make a couple holes and put them right in. And as they grow, they'll just become climbers. Now I also took some cucumbers and I planted them on these 4 pots that go around the railing on the west side. And I'm trying to do this one-handed right here. I'm just making a hole, pressing it in, firming it well. And since it's going to rain this afternoon, I'm not going to water them in. I'm just going to let that rain. I don't want them too soggy. And the temperature should be about 65 degrees today. So real nice for the seedlings, and not too cold during the night. Now on the north side, I'm going to do Swiss chard and those loofahs, and just like the cucumbers on the other side, I'm going to let them trail down off the deck. Where they are, they're about 10 feet above the ground. So I'm just going to firm those plants in there, always leaving my stakes so I know exactly what's planted in my pots. Now there's 3 of these pots on the north side. Has a good root system, and I did grow these from seeds, these loofahs. So I'm putting that in there. I'm going to firm that around, and all the soil in all these pots have the natural organic fertilizer and the blood meal. And I'm just going to pull off some of those old leaves. And I always find Swiss chard interesting because like the yellow and the red Swiss chard, the roots are that same color, which is really interesting to me. So it's firmed in and we are good to go with those. Now on the east side, I actually planted peppers. These are red bell peppers, and I put 2 of them in each container because they will get large and I want them to have enough root system. Now, when these get just a little bit bigger, I'm going to snip off their top so they have a lot more branches. So here we are, everything is planted, and I've got pansies and all kinds of different flowers in different pots. And I think I'm going to really enjoy it. It'll be really interesting to see these cucumbers and the loofahs trail down. And as you can see, there's lots of flowers in pots, some of them that need a little bit more shade. Now on this deck, I always get morning sun, afternoon shade, and late afternoon sun again. And so it's really a great place to grow a lot of plants. Take those little spaces and change them into something that you can just really enjoy this summer. It doesn't take a long time. I did all this in a few hours, and we'll be able to enjoy it all summer long.